Sheriff, and we'll just use this as our closing statement. You guys can take a little longer. Once you guys take 3 or 4 minutes on this one, go a little bit longer. Steve, you got the mic, so go ahead and start.
Good. Thank you. Why I want to be the next sheriff? Well, I've worked the last 18 years for that effort to be the next sheriff. I started out at the Blackville Police Department. I learned as a municipal police officer what it took to be a police officer in the city limits. I learned, I was able to train over 18 people in just a 3-year time at the Blackville Police Department. That sounds like a lot of folks. When I started at the sheriff's office, we had to work our own crimes. We didn't have detectives. So I was able to learn a lot there. I had no choice to learn. If we wanted convictions, we learned on the fly. We didn't have the training back then that we do now. You know, we have 11 road deputies now. 1 investigator, 1 canine officer, I think 5 reserve deputies, and 2 juvenile transport deputies, and 2 courthouse deputies. We cover over 945 square miles. We do the transport, civil process, and answer calls. We traveled over 106,000 miles last year transporting prisoners. We served over 1,400 papers, civil papers last year. There's a lot of work that goes in at the sheriff's office with just very few people. As the sheriff, I have to continue to work in the field. Run the day-to-day operations, make sure they're done correctly, make sure the funds at the sheriff's office are expended properly, and I can promise you that that will be done. Also, I believe half of the time the sheriff spends at work needs to be in the field. We're at a position now at the sheriff's office where the new elected official will be able to hit the field, answer calls, or at least when an investigation is being done by a deputy, maybe the sheriff can follow up with the victims. You know, just show up and talk to them about it, just assure them that it's being investigated. I think that would go a long way with the relationship with the citizens of Kate County. If the undersheriff or the sheriff was to show up at their house and just kind of do a small follow-up and let them know what's going on. Obviously, we won't be able to do that for every single case, but for the major ones, I think that's a very good idea, and that's what I plan on doing. We also want to start up, we've talked about the Sheriff's Citizens Academy, we've talked about community policing. By educating the public on the various crimes and how we handle them, what to look for, what to hear, you know, how to report it. I think people are interested in that kind of stuff. If we were to train them, it would help us deter or prevent and catch these people committing these crimes. We can't be everywhere all the time. The funds are not going to be there. The state is in a bad way as far as funds. So we have to come up with things that are not going to cost the taxpayers, like grants, the community policing, just by education. You know, we have sit up here and talk about education till we're blue in the face, but that's what has to happen. We need your help to do our job as well. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan?
This election is almost over. I don't know, I didn't get that memo for the sign war during this election, but next time maybe I'll get the memo. But you know, this is nothing personal. You know, I make more than the sheriff does at this present time in my current position. I have better insurance, better retirement. I got a nice brand new office. But you know, that doesn't mean nothing to me. What it does is whenever, you know, over the past 4 years meeting with community leaders and the citizens of Kate County, and listening to their complaints, their concerns, and their comments, knowing that, when you go knock on the door, somebody's house and ask them for your support, they ask you, do you work for the K County Sheriff's Department? No, I don't. And then they start in. I believe during that time, I've learned a lot. And I learned that the citizens of K County needs me. It's time that I step up, not complain, and move forward and put in my implementation of my strategic plan in place in order to move this county forward. Because we can continue going down that same road, that same path, ending with the same results. Or you can choose to elect me, Brian Herbert, for a new face, a new voice, and a new vision for the citizens of K County and for the K County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Okay, Tom?
Well, I can't tell you that there's a day that goes by when I don't get asked this question: why do you want to be the next sheriff? Pick a spot. Walmart, walking into the restroom, Garden Parade. I can go on and on. So I'm good at this. Why do I want to be the next sheriff? I started January 1st of 1990 at the K County Jail. I was a third shift jailer. I would go back in the back at age 23, and I would do my homework until lights were out, and then I would do the checks, do everything that you need to as part of your job. June of 1990, I became a deputy. Marion Van Hoosen was the undersheriff. Glenn Gwynn was the sheriff. I wish both of those gentlemen were here today so I could thank them in person. That point, I think January 1st, 1990 is when I decided I wanted to be sheriff. And I'll tell you why. It's real simple. I believe that I have a calling to be here. Trust me, I've thought about other things and just been steered back to where I am. I truly believe that I can make a difference as your next sheriff, and I will. I will be front and center on everything that needs to be done. I go to work every single day and work cases. That won't change. I have no lapse in my service. When I started at the K County Sheriff's Department and became a deputy, I didn't even take a day off, and I started at Ponca PD. I'm not going to take a day off and be your next sheriff. I'm going to keep going. I really truly feel that we owe it to everybody in this county. 944 square miles, no matter where you live, if you live in town or out in the city limits, we all have issues that we all need to work together to make a difference. There's Kildere's got students, Bremen does for the time being. There's lots of things we can do to work with kids. Kids love law enforcement. They want to run to you. They want to touch the badge. You tell them no about the guns. They want to talk to you. I was a school resource officer for 3 years in Ponca City, and I did junior highs. And before that, I worked the West Side Community Policing Program. So I would go to daycares and do safety talks with kids. And I always say the ones down here would give you what I call snot tracks on your, sorry, but on your legs. They just love you. They want to hug you and you get it all over you. And then when you go to the junior high, they tolerate you a little bit. Then when they get eye level, they want nothing to do with you. They don't want to talk to you no more. That's where I think if we start at the ground level, and when they're down here and they can't get enough of the cars, they can't get enough of the talks, they can't get enough of you getting in their lives and trying to make a positive. Then, just like today and every single day, I have somebody who's 30-something years old that goes, I remember you. And I'm like, remember the speech? Crap. Are we going to get into it? Or, and then they tell me the story about something I said to them that changed their life back when they were, in trouble when they were young. Every single day we run into people in law enforcement that they may be a victim, they may be a suspect, they may be a defendant, but they're all have a stake in this. And people change. I put people in jail every single day. I go to work for 26 years, but you still run into them where they can change. And the basic thing that we're running into right now is we don't have enough room, or not room, but we don't have enough money to keep housing people. So the state's sending them back. So what do? I mean, they're your neighbors or my neighbors, you know, I mean, what do? We have to do something. I want to come up with programs that works with OJ. I've talked to the judges about implementing programs and getting youthful offenders assigned to these programs, and they're all for it, because we have to do something. You know, we all have a stake in this, in the whole county, and they just don't live in Newkirk. They live in Ponca, they live in Narden, everybody. Same with adults. And that's one thing I want to do, is I want to work front line and make a difference. You know, I gave this speech, and a guy said, so you don't want to put anybody in jail? And I said, no, you got to put them in jail. That's what we do. That's who we are. We put them in jail, and then if they don't learn, we keep putting them in jail. And then eventually they're going to get it, or they're going to do something bad enough, they're going to go to prison. But what do we do with the ones that read the paper? They get assigned, or I'm sorry, get sentenced to the county jail for 6 months or a year. There's a new program that's, I don't remember what House bill it is, but the sheriff is in charge of working inmates out on like work details, like back in the old chain gangs. You know, why can't we implement a program in there that we try to help them and make a difference? I'm not all for the huggy-lovey, touchy-feely where we don't put anybody in jail, but we have to understand that we're going to try to make a difference, or we're just going to keep dealing with the same thing. So Sheriff's Academy, I think that is something that definitely we need to do. I've done it at the Ponca City Police Department, been part of it for 20 years. Wonderful program. You spin off of that and the Extra Eyes program. People want to come out and help you just because they know what you do. They know what your training is, they know what you're trying to do, and they understand that it's for the betterment of the community. Elderly abuse, I run into that every single day also. Same with scams on the elderly. We have to protect our most important asset. And trust me, there's people that make a living off doing it, and then they sell the telephone numbers overseas, and then it continues. And we have to do it. We have to make a difference. Thank you very much for everybody being here.